Moving right along. Our second recipe is the grilled ginger lime shrimp with green beans. And this recipe is a magnificent meatless meal option that is great on the grill. And we know, we talk about it quite often, that World Cancer authorities recommend that we eat no more than 18 ounces, 500 grams of red meat per week to reduce cancer risk. And that would be about equal to 3 or 4 portions per week. And eating even small amounts of processed meats like hot dogs and sausages can increase colorectal cancer risk. So cooking fish on the grill instead of the meat, the red meat and the sausages, is one way to cut back on the red meat and processed meat while still getting the protein we need to have a healthy immune system, to maintain or build muscle, and recover from cancer treatment. And then pairing the shrimp in this recipe with the green beans, well, that just boosts our fiber intake a bit more and several health protective compounds. So back to the kitchen.
Awesome, thank you. So yes, we don't do shrimp that often in our kitchen here. So summertime, we thought it would be a nice time to showcase it. But really, it's all about the marinade for this recipe. This is one of my favorites, and you can definitely use this on plant-based proteins. This would be wonderful on like tofu, or you can use this on chicken. You can use this on beef. You can use this on other proteins as well. Fish. We're going to use shrimp today, but to start, we're going to make this really, really nice, delicious, refreshing marinade. And we're going to start off with 2 aromatics. So I've got a little piece of garlic, a little piece of ginger here, and I'm going to use my rasp, a little microplane, and I'm going to just grate it and mince it in there. Again, if you're new to the channel, I have an affinity to this rasp, one of my favorite tools. It just makes really, really nice quick work of mincing our garlic and our ginger, our zest as well. All right, so garlic clove, a couple garlic cloves, a little bit of ginger in there, and I'm going to go straight into the bowl. You can do this like the last recipe and just do it in a mason jar, but I figured to show you both ways. I'm going to use the zest of our lime. So just wash it really, really well. And no citrus, the price has been pretty crazy lately. One little tip that I've learned is to get a nice juicy citrus. I find that the smoother citrus, so limes, lemons, the smoother they are, the juicier they are, versus the more dimpled they are, they tend to be not as juicy. So hopefully that helps in picking out a nice, good, juicy citrus. All right, so the lime zest is going to go in with our ginger and our garlic, and already it starts to smell incredible. While I'm preparing the marinade, I have my grill on the side here preheating. This is where I'll be cooking, and the same if you were doing this on your barbecue. What I tend to suggest is have different temperature zones when you're cooking on the barbecue. You can have like a medium to higher heat on one side to a low to even off on the other side. And that way it gives you a little bit more control of when we're moving our ingredients around, whether they're meat or whether they're plant-based. It doesn't really matter. We still want that control. We don't want to burn anything, right? So playing around with the heats is great. If I have a grill pan, I don't have that luxury because I'm heating just one item. So just make sure that you adjust the heat accordingly. And if you have to take it off of the burner for it to cool down, then don't be afraid to do it, right? So I have my zest, garlic, my ginger. We're going to go in with our juice of the lime. And I'm going to go in with the whole thing here. So it's about 2 tablespoons. 2-3 tablespoons in there. And then we're gonna use some ground turmeric here as well. About a half teaspoon. We don't need too much. I find if you overdo with the turmeric, it will get a little bitter. And then, yeah, you love the power couples.
I do love power couples, and we have another one. Oh, there's the black pepper. I was wondering. Yes. So the curcumin for us to absorb the curcumin, which is the active ingredient in turmeric, coupling it with black pepper, the active ingredient black pepper, piperine. The piperine helps our body absorb more of the curcumin that's in turmeric. So that's pretty cool. Up to about 75% increased absorption. So it's worth making that combination.
All right, I am just slicing up some green onion. I'm going to use the bottom, so the white part of the green onion inside this sort of dressing, this marinade here. And then the top part, the green part, I'm going to reserve for after, so for garnish plate afterwards. So we'll just,
Actually, I misspoke, Jeremy. It enhances curcumin absorption by 2000%.
2000%. So
2000%.
that is a strong couple.
That is a strong power couple.
All right, so reserving the tops, we'll save for later. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of fresh herbs. I have some mint here. Nice tablespoon of mint. A little bit goes a long way, but it adds some really, really nice flavor. And then a little bit of olive oil, a couple tablespoons. Olive oil. And your pinch of salt. I'm not going to add too much now. I can season afterwards. And you can use a whisk or let's have a fork here. And we have this wonderful little marinade, this wonderful little dressing, super aromatic, super flavorful. Couple tips on the marinade. If like this would be fantastic as a dressing in a salad or a really nice finishing dressing for my dish. So what I suggest is if you do want to use some of it, put half aside for your dressing, for your finishing dressing, and then you can use the rest for marinating. You should never reuse your marinade, especially if you're using it on animal-based proteins. So that will need to be discarded. So I'm going to save half, and then we can use it after for the dressing. I did pre-marinate our shrimp here. So that's a marinade, and it's been sitting for about 30 minutes in the marinade here. It looks fantastic. It smells wonderful. And again, just keep it cold, nice and cold. Anytime you are marinating, you don't want to have it marinating at room temperature. You want to keep it in the fridge. And I have shell on shrimp. I do find that it also adds another layer of protection when I'm adding it to the grill. And you'll hear that sizzle. That's mostly from the marinade, the liquid. But we're going to add it to the grill pan. And shrimp don't take long. I'm going to take probably, depending on your grill, 2 to 3 minutes per side. You do want to make sure that we are fully cooking them through.
And the marinade you mentioned, I think it's important to say again that to marinate your shrimp, but also meat or chicken for at least 30 minutes, right? And that helps to reduce the formation of one of the cancer-causing compounds called heterocyclic amines. And research has actually shown that marinating has a bigger impact on reducing this specific compound HCA than reducing cooking temp. So yes, reduce cooking temp as well, but know that using the marinade is a huge protector. And the scientists are still investigating precisely why, but they think it has to do with the compounds or the ingredients that are in the marinade that have some antioxidant, anti-inflammatory properties, and that might also be helping to prevent the formation of the HCAs. So I thought that was pretty cool to read. Yeah.
All right, back to me. Getting loud from here. So if you're cooking inside, make sure you have your hood fan on. But if you're teaching a class or recording, that can be a little bit of a challenge, as we are. So you work with the elements. But a couple notes. So we've got our shrimp grilling here. Obviously, we're doing it inside. We're doing it outside. Again, that tip of having one side on, one side off, and that way you can transfer it over. You are cooking over fire. Sometimes you get flare-ups. That tends to happen if any fat starts to drip down, right? So fat either from the product itself, if you're using animal-based proteins, or fat from the marinade, right? If it has oil in it, that will start to kick up the flame. So it's always really a good idea to keep on top of it, move it over off away from the flame if you need to. Or one little tip that I have, I always keep this when I'm barbecuing, is you can go to the dollar store, get yourself a little spritz bottle, and you can fill it up with water. And anytime you do see the flames kick up, you just give it a little spritz. I'm not going to do it on top of my electric stove top, but outside, a little spritz, and to actually help to tame the fire and tame the flames. It'll help to keep it back down, temper it. It's fantastic. It also helps to keep some more moisture and aroma, not aroma, but moisture in the barbecue, which if you're closing it. But you can also flavor it as well. So you can even add some lemon to this, a little vinegar, maybe some herbs. And so as you're taming the flames, you're actually flavoring your product as well. So it's a great little tip for grilling. Also, another tip, anytime we're grilling, a little food safety tip, cross-contamination, I always like to have multiple, but at least 2 sets of tongs, utensils, one that you're using for your handling your raw product, this is obviously for more animal-based ingredients, and then one that we're using for your cooked. It helps to get 2 different types because it's very easy to misplace. And if they look the same, like, okay, which one did I use for raw? Which one did I use for cooked? So I usually have one, maybe, it's color coded. This one has like a red handle. This one is just the metal handle on it. So we're going to use this. We're going to do a little flip. These are looking good. And again, I love the idea of with shrimp, the shell on, it does give it that extra layer of protection. So the outside, we're getting a little bit of color, but it is just on the shell. So we'll still get that like nice smokiness, that grill flavor. But when we peel it after, we're not actually eating that charred part.
And you mentioned the, reduce the open flame or reducing the smoke, and that that is actually the other cancer-causing compound that can develop, and that's more from the smoking, and it's polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs. So you might see in the literature people talking about HCAs and PAHs. That's what the actual name is. I forget it every year. I have to look it up again before our demos, and it's like, what is it again that they mean? So there you go. I'm not going to say it again. PAHs and HCAs. That's what I'm saying from now on.
And Danielle, you were saying the marinade helps to limit the formation.
The marinade helps to limit the HCAs.
Okay.
And then to reduce the smoking, what you mentioned about the open flame, the smokiness, that is what creates the PAHs. So both the tips that you gave about using the lower heat, outside having one side off, one side on, the marinade, all that will help with both reducing both of those cancer-causing compounds.
Beautiful. Love it. Thank you. All right, we're gonna finish this up. So we've got our shrimp almost done. And to pair with that, we're gonna use some really beautiful green beans. Again, really nice, easy product, often overlooked. What I love is these French green beans don't really take much work to cook. You know, you may need to trim the ends depending on the variety you get. Give them a nice wash, and then same thing, just throw them onto the grill just to get some really nice color. But they don't take too much time, and I don't like to overcook them. I do like them to be a little tender, so it'll be for a few minutes. You can use the long bean as well, which I love. It is a little harder to find, but if you are used to shopping for long beans and using long beans, I'm sure you'll know where to find them, which are great. Either will work. And you can, give them again, nice little grill. And then going to put them as our base. This will sort of be our little bed for our shrimp. These are beautiful green beans, which again, I just grilled them dry. And then as soon as I take them off, you can maybe add a little bit of salt, maybe a little bit of olive oil. You don't have to do too much. And our shrimp are ready to roll here. Put a few on top.
That's gorgeous.
Really nice. And again, you can do this with other proteins as well. If you don't eat shellfish. With a nice piece of salmon, nice piece of grilled salmon, be fantastic.
Always great on the presentation, Jeremy.
Oh, so important. So important. All right.
That eye hunger, it's appealing to the eye hunger.
And then the rest of the dressing. So again, this is the dressing that we didn't use on our shrimp. It's just got so much flavor with the ginger and the mince and the garlic, the lime.
So we have a lot of foods that fall into anti-inflammatory categories. So those health protective compounds that go well with the grilled shrimp.
And then I like to finish it with something with a little bit of texture. So I'm actually going to throw some chopped almonds on top. Again, you're getting a little fancy here. Not necessary.
But it's easy. So like if I was to see that dish already made, I would think, oh, that would be hard to do. But watching how you broke it down and put it together, I could do that. I could do that, no problem.
Like the hardest part is making that marinade. Shrimp itself don't take much time to cook or prep. And the rest is just really garnish, the green beans are really nice, accessible, easy vegetable to use. But there we have it. What do we call this? Our ginger, turmeric, lime.
Grilled ginger lime shrimp with green beans.
And that little bit of turmeric in there, you'll notice it, that little hum. It gives the marinade and the dressing a really nice color too. Beautiful dish. There we go.